Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you like this video, if you learned something out of it, don't forget to give it a like or subscribe to the channel. It will help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm so this video can get to similar drivers like you. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1, my reference for braking is this second cone on the left side. I want to brake slightly before it. Super important into this corner will be to open up and avoid hitting the curb on the inside near the apex. What I mean by open up is using this part right here. When the left part of the track opens up a bit, there's a bit of space in between the white line and the concrete on the left. So even though I'm not hyper focusing on using it, notice that I have my left tires on this concrete at turn in. That's gonna be important. Now in terms of braking and turning, you want to brake in a straight line a lot more than you think, because you want to have a late apex into this corner. If you're gonna turn early, then you will miss a lot because you have to take that curb, and if you take that curb, the car will bounce. So the trickiest part in this corner is to avoid hitting this curb, but at the same time being super close to the white line. And the moment that you hit the white line on the inside, then you go on power very quickly 0-100 like this. If you find yourself hitting that curb and the car bouncing, you will lose a lot of lap time because for a small moment the car won't have traction on all the 4 tires, it will be imbalanced, and as a result we'll lose on this exit. So super important here to take a late apex, brake hard using all the track and going very quickly on 100% throttle. Now next corner, my reference for braking will be the end of this grass right here, this one. So slightly before it, I'm applying the brakes. I'm not braking very hard, I'm picking like 15%. My goal here is to put some weight on the front tires, not to slow the car down, so to get a bit of front end grip. And then immediately I'm going back on throttle. Like this point, even before touching the curb, I'm already back on throttle because you want to keep the minimum speed up. Also, you can cut a lot this curve, notice, like this, and still is gonna be fine. One important aspect could be to use a lot of steering angle while you're doing it. You can hit the point in which the car will understeer, but I found that I was not using enough my steering wheel, so I had a lot more grip on the front tires that I was not using it. I would recommend you hitting that curb a bit later, going over it, and once you're cornering, to try to squeeze a bit more off the steering wheel. So what I like to do sometimes to check if there's some front end grip available is whenever I'm turning, let's say I'm turning at a steady rate, and whenever I'm at the apex, I give it a bit of movement, like a harsh movement. It doesn't have to be very quick. It can be like this, but I'm forcing it to feel and to see if there's a bit of grip left into the front tires, because if the car will comply, if the car will still turn, it means that I can use my steering wheel more. So definitely be mindful in this corner, because you might think that you will understeer when in fact there is a lot of grip available. Now for the next corner, flat out in 5th gear, turning a bit early, going very close to this curb and trying to stay on the first half of the track, like right here into the braking zone. There will be 2 approaches into this corner. You can either do it 1st gear, braking a bit later, or 2nd gear like I'm doing right now. Both can work, both give you the same lap time if you do them properly. So it's up to you how you want to do it. Now, why I do this under braking? I brake a bit softer and then harder, because initially when I'm braking, I don't have my steering wheel straight. Because of that, like right now, when I'm applying the brakes, notice that I have this amount of steering angle. So it's not 0 degrees, but I try to get to 0 degrees of steering lock as quickly as I can. So right now, because I have 0 degrees of steering lock, I'm able to peak higher because I felt the car being unstable. So you want to give your very best effort under braking whenever the car has its steering wheel straight, and you want to arrive to 0 degrees as quickly as you can, because you're gonna be the most efficient under braking whenever you're gonna brake straight. If you have just a bit of steering angle, then the car will turn and brake at the same time, so you will lose a bit of the efficiency of the brake. In terms of apexing here, you can take this curb, but take it later. If you're gonna take it in the beginning, the car will jump more in front, so it will go more like here, and you will make your line longer, and as a result you will travel a longer distance. So keep it tight. You can go to the center of the track like this, but don't go all the way to the curb on the right side. Now for the next corner right here, braking point is mostly done on feel. If you want a visual reference, you can use this dirty part. You can brake at it. But in this section, I really recommend you going in first gear. I think it was a mistake from my lap. I'm almost sure it was a mistake. So I felt like the engine was choked in second gear. I couldn't make it work. So brake maybe a bit later, but go in first gear instead of being in second gear. You will lose a bit of time on entry compared with my lap, but you will gain that time and more, I suspect. If you will use first gear, you will have more RPMs, more torque out of the corner. You will carry more speed on the exit of the next one. So go in first gear here, not in second one. I think you will gain 2/10 to my lap if you do that. And another mistake here, don't turn early for this corner. So I'm trying to cover the shortest amount of distance by not going a bit more towards the left. However, I found myself hitting this curb too aggressively and the car bouncing like this. And look at the delta. Look how much I'm losing right now. So it's 1/10, more than 1/10, right? So 1/10 and a half by just cutting that curb. Instead, what you want to do is go around it if you can, like hit it very late. Instead of hitting in the beginning like I'm doing here, take it later and don't jump like this. You will lose traction, okay? So for sure, this lap can be improved with half a second. I wanted to give you this and show you this instead of trying a lot more, also because I didn't have time enough to do proper laps. So you can see those mistakes. It's a lot easier to see it and have like a visual representation of what that means, so you can avoid them more easily. Now for the next one, you just want to go and barely cut it like this to the grass. You can touch the grass a bit and still won't be an off track. And this corner right here, easy flat, but you have to turn early. It's one of the corners in which if you turn early, you will have more grip because there's a bit of a compression near this curb and you can actually touch that curb. So the earlier you get to the compression, the better it's gonna be. In 4th gear, flat out, then we're gonna upshift to 5th gear. Last corner, very difficult. Braking point, it will be slightly at the end of the pit entry line, okay? So you see this concrete on the right side. I'm looking almost here. So whenever I see this green part coming closer to me, I'm applying the brakes, I'm downshifting to 4th. Some people will do it in 3rd gear, but 4th can work the same. So 3rd gear, 4th gear, for me 4th gear was a bit more consistent, and I know for sure that it can match 3rd gear because I did a bit of testing with 3rd and 4th. I like 4th gear more, but if you feel like you can't get the rotation out of 4th, then go with 3rd gear and compare your lap times. You want to apex, not in the beginning, but a bit later near this curve here. You can also cut it a bit, but don't go over it. Again, the car will bounce. To cut it just a bit here, super important, brake, trail brake, 0-100 throttle. So if you will just gonna spike the brake and then drop it quickly, you won't have enough rotation to make the corner. You have to brake, then bleed the brakes a bit longer than you think. Look on this shape here. And then 0-100 instantly, like instantly go 0-100 because there's a huge straight right here. And the earlier you're gonna be on throttle and the more aggressive you're gonna be on throttle, the more time you're gonna gain down the straight. But in short, that's a track guide of Summit Point with the GR86. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something out of it. If you want to accelerate the progress and learn at a quicker pace, you can even check out my course in the video description. A lot of people got it and I had some great feedback about the course. I'm really happy with how it's going. It's definitely my biggest work so far, so if you're interested, definitely check it out. I'll be seeing you in the next track guide. Bye bye.